Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we are diving headfirst into the world of AI and recruiting.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is. And to help us navigate these waters, we'll be looking at AI in recruiting, separating hype from reality, a practical guide for smarter, fairer hiring.
Definitely a timely topic.
It is. We're going to figure out how AI is changing the hiring landscape, for companies and job seekers, but we're going to really focus on transparency and fairness.
Yeah, there's so much hype around AI right now, but it's important to look beyond the buzzwords and understand the real implications.
Exactly. We need to separate, like the title says, the hype from reality.
Right.
And one of the things that we found is that AI has the potential to really streamline recruiting.
Absolutely. Think about all the manual tasks that recruiters have to do, like screening resumes, scheduling interviews. AI can automate a lot of that, freeing up time for recruiters to focus on more strategic work.
Yeah, and this is already happening. Korn Ferry's 2025 Talent Acquisition Trends report found that 67% of talent professionals predict, that AI is going to be used even more in the future.
That's a significant majority.
It is. So it seems like it's here to stay.
Yeah. But as with any new technology, it's not a magic bullet.
Oh, for sure.
And we need to be mindful of its limitations.
Especially when it comes to things that are hard for AI to grasp, like soft skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how do you teach an algorithm to assess things like creativity or leadership potential or emotional intelligence?
Right. Those are really tricky things to quantify, even for humans.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of bias, which I know you're going to get to.
Oh, absolutely. 40% of those talent professionals who predicted increased AI use are also worried that it's going to make recruiting feel impersonal.
I can see why they'd say that.
Yeah.
AI-powered systems can sometimes feel cold and detached.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the concern that AI could lead to unfair hiring decisions. Like 25% are worried about algorithmic bias. And, this isn't just theoretical. We've seen this play out in real life.
Oh, absolutely. The Amazon recruiting tool from back in 2015 is a prime example of how things can go wrong.
Yeah. Can you remind everyone about that?
So Amazon was trying to develop an algorithm that could sort through resumes and pick out the top candidates, right?
Yeah. Top 5 out of 100 resumes.
Exactly. It seemed like a great idea in theory, but in practice, the algorithm ended up discriminating against women.
Because?
Well, the data they used to train the algorithm was mostly from resumes of men, since historically, more men have worked in tech. So the algorithm learned to associate male characteristics with success.
It's kind of like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And even when Amazon tried to correct the bias, it kept popping up. They couldn't fully figure out why, which is another problem with some AI systems. They're like a black box. You can't always see how they're making decisions.
And that's scary, right? To think that you could be rejected for a job by an algorithm and not even know why.
Right. That lack of transparency can be really frustrating for job seekers.
And it really undermines trust in the whole system.
Exactly. That's why explainable AI is so important.
Explainable AI.
Yeah, basically it's the idea that AI systems should be able to explain their reasoning in a way that humans can understand. So you're not just getting a yes or no decision, but also some insights into why the AI reached that conclusion.
So, imagine an algorithm could tell you, hey, we didn't choose you for this job because you lack experience in X, but you seem like a great fit for Y, and here's why.
Exactly. That kind of transparency would be a game changer.
Yeah, it would make the whole process a lot less mysterious and a lot more fair.
Definitely.
Because it's only fair that you know why you're being rejected.
Right, absolutely. Transparency is crucial for building trust and ensuring that AI is used ethically in recruiting.
And it's not just about hypothetical situations. There was a lawsuit recently, right, against a company. I don't think they've released the name yet because their AI was allegedly discriminating based on race, age, and even mental health.
Yeah, that case is a stark reminder of the legal risks companies face if their AI tools aren't designed and used responsibly.
Yeah, it's like a wake-up call. Companies need to get serious about transparency and fairness.
For sure. And I think it's also an opportunity to reimagine the job application process altogether.
Okay, how so?
Imagine if AI could pre-screen applications and give feedback to candidates even before they formally apply.
Whoa, what would that look like?
Well, you could submit your resume and the AI could analyze it and say, hey, based on your skills and experience, you seem like a good fit for these types of roles. And here are some areas where you could improve your application.
That's a really cool idea. Instead of just getting rejected, you'd get some actual feedback and guidance.
Exactly. It could make the whole process more humane and transparent.
And it could potentially save everyone a lot of time and effort.
Right. No more applying to dozens of jobs and never hearing back.
Yeah, that's the worst.
It is. And this isn't just a pipe dream. There are already companies working on developing this kind of AI-powered feedback system.
So there's hope for the future of job applications after all.
Definitely.
And it sounds like the legal landscape is starting to catch up to these concerns.
It is. In Europe, there's already a right to explanation when it comes to AI. So if an algorithm makes a decision that affects you, like denying you a loan or a job, you have the right to know why.
And we're seeing some similar movement here in the US. Like New York City now requires bias audits for AI hiring tools, and they're also mandating transparency for candidates.
Yeah, those regulations are a big step in the right direction. They require companies to prove their algorithms aren't discriminatory, disclose how AI is being used in hiring, and offer alternative options, like human review, to candidates who aren't comfortable with AI assessment.
That's really good to hear. It sounds like things are moving towards a more equitable and responsible use of AI.
They are. And that brings us to the question of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge part of this conversation. Like, can AI actually help promote DEI in recruiting? Or is it more likely to make things worse?
It's a really important question and one that we need to explore carefully.
Okay, so let's take a quick break and then dive into that very question. And we're back, still plumbing the depths of AI and recruiting.
Yeah, we were just about to get into the whole DEI aspect.
Diversity, equity, inclusion, it feels like such a critical part of this whole discussion.
Absolutely. And AI can definitely play a role.
Okay, but how? Can AI actually promote DEI in recruiting, or is it more likely to, perpetuate existing biases?
It's a valid question. And like any tool, AI can be used for good or for ill.
So how do we make sure it's used for good when it comes to hiring?
Well, it all starts with recognizing that AI is a tool, right? It's not a magic solution, but it can be incredibly powerful when used thoughtfully.
Okay, so it's not about just throwing AI at the problem and hoping for the best.
Exactly. We need to be strategic about how we design, implement, and regulate these systems.
So how do we do that then? Like, where do we even start?
Well, one area where AI can be really helpful is in identifying and mitigating bias in job descriptions.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
So think about it. A lot of job descriptions use language that can unintentionally discourage certain groups of people from applying.
Like what? Give me an example.
Sure. Sometimes you see words like aggressive or dominant used to describe ideal candidates, which might appeal more to men.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Or, there might be an emphasis on certain qualifications that disproportionately exclude people from underrepresented groups.
Right, because not everyone has had the same opportunities.
Exactly. And AI can help us spot these subtle biases that we might not even be aware of.
So it's like having a built-in sensitivity reader for job descriptions.
Exactly. AI can analyze the language and suggest alternative wording that's more inclusive and appealing to a wider range of candidates.
So it helps create a more welcoming and inclusive environment right from the start.
That's the idea. And that's just one example.
Ah.
AI can also be used to analyze recruiting data and identify patterns of bias in hiring practices.
Okay, so it could flag if a company is consistently overlooking qualified candidates from certain backgrounds.
Exactly. It can help companies spot those blind spots and address systemic issues that might be contributing to a lack of diversity.
So it's not just about fixing individual job descriptions, but about addressing bigger systemic problems.
Precisely. AI can help us hold companies accountable for their DEI commitments and make sure they're actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
I like that. But I also want to be clear here, we're not saying that AI should replace human judgment altogether.
Oh, absolutely not. AI is a tool, remember. It's not a substitute for human empathy, understanding, and critical thinking.
So it's about using AI to augment our decision-making, not to completely automate it.
Exactly. It's about using AI to help us identify and overcome our own biases so we can make fairer and more informed decisions.
It's like AI can help us see things that we might miss on our own.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important aspect of this conversation, the future of work.
Okay, now we're getting into some really interesting territory.
Yeah.
How do you see AI impacting the jobs we do, the skills we need, and the very nature of employment?
Well, that's a question that a lot of people are grappling with right now. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty about what AI means for the future of work.
Yeah, like, are the robots going to take all our jobs?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
I mean, I've seen those sci-fi movies where the machines take over, and it doesn't end well for us humans.
I don't think we're headed for a Terminator-style apocalypse just yet.
Okay, that's a relief.
But it is true that AI is going to automate some tasks that are currently done by humans. That's inevitable.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Like, I can definitely imagine AI taking over some of those repetitive, data-heavy tasks that nobody really enjoys doing anyway.
Exactly. But here's the thing. While AI might automate some existing jobs, it's also going to create new jobs and opportunities that we can't even imagine yet.
So it's not just about jobs being lost, it's about jobs being transformed.
Exactly. Think about it this way. AI is incredibly good at automating those repetitive routine tasks, analyzing vast amounts of data, and identifying patterns that humans might miss.
Right. So if AI can take care of all that, then what does that leave for humans to do?
It frees us up to focus on more creative, strategic, and interpersonal tasks, the things that AI is not so good at.
So it's not about replacing humans, but about augmenting our capabilities and allowing us to work more efficiently and effectively.
Exactly. And we're already seeing this shift happening in a lot of industries.
Like where?
Well, take healthcare, for example.
Yeah.
AI is being used to analyze medical images and assist with diagnoses, which frees up doctors to spend more time with their patients, providing that human touch and personalized care.
So instead of fearing AI, we should be thinking about how we can work alongside it and leverage its strengths to enhance our own.
Exactly. The key is to be adaptable and to embrace lifelong learning.
So what does this mean for job seekers today? What kind of skills should they be focusing on to prepare for this future of work?
Well, technical skills will definitely be in high demand, especially in fields like data science, artificial intelligence, and software development.
Yeah, those are definitely hot areas right now.
They are. But don't underestimate the importance of soft skills.
Soft skills. Like what?
We're talking about things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration.
Those are all things that humans are good at, right?
Exactly. And there are things that are really hard to automate.
So even in an AI-powered world, those uniquely human skills are going to be even more valuable.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, it's still humans who are going to be driving innovation, solving complex problems, and connecting with each other on a deeper level.
So it's not just about adapting to AI, it's about actively shaping its development and making sure it's used ethically and responsibly.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we ensure that AI is used for good, not just in recruiting, but in all aspects of our lives? I think that's a great question to ponder as we head into our final break. All right, we're back for our final segment, and I think it's time to tackle that big question hanging in the air.
How to make sure AI is used ethically, you mean? Not just in hiring, but everywhere.
Exactly. AI is evolving so rapidly, it feels like a lot of responsibility.
It is. And honestly, the first step is staying informed.
Easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
There's so much information out there. Where do you even start?
You got to be curious. Read those articles, listen to podcasts like this one, attend webinars, talk to folks who are really in the know about AI.
So, be proactive. Don't just wait for the information to come to you.
Right. And as you're learning, don't be afraid to get critical. Ask those tough questions. Like, what are the biases built into this AI? How is it actually being used? What's the impact on people like job seekers?
So it's not enough to just read a headline. You really got to dig deep and think for yourself.
Absolutely. And once you've got a grasp on the issues, then you can start taking action.
Okay, so how do we do that? What can we actually do to make a difference?
One of the most powerful things you can do is hold companies accountable.
Give me an example. What does that look like in real life?
Simple. Ask questions, especially during a job application process. If a company is using AI to screen your resume or do those video interviews, ask them how it works. What are they doing to make it fair?
So we can advocate for ourselves as candidates.
You got it. You have a right to know how your data is being used, how those decisions about your application are being made.
And if a company can't give a good answer,
seek your talent somewhere else. But don't stop there. Support organizations fighting for ethical AI, push for laws that protect workers, make sure the tech industry itself is more diverse and inclusive.
It feels like such a huge issue. It's easy to feel powerless.
You're not powerless. Collective action is a real thing. And honestly, all those little actions add up to big changes.
So it's not just about adapting to this AI future. It's about shaping it.
Exactly. This isn't destiny, it's a choice. We get to decide what this future looks like.
And that's pretty empowering when you think about it.
It is. It's on all of us to make sure AI is a force for good, not just in hiring, but in every part of our lives.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you for diving deep with us today. This has been a fascinating exploration of AI and recruiting.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged. This is a conversation that needs all of us at the table. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.